We've been called the freest press in Asia, but while the press is free, information, it seems, is not. For the last 23 years, journalists have had to argue, threaten, or persuade officials to release documents that should be considered public information. An informal survey of reporters by the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism shows an alarming propensity by officials to refuse access to public information. The PCIJ did a review of the last 10 years and found 4 kinds of documents often kept from the public eye, from government contracts to statements of assets and liabilities of public officials.
May mga agencies din na may mga kontrata na involving millions or even billions of public money na dapat yung mga negosasyon nila ay nakalatag sa public para ma-scrutinize.
The agencies that have the most to do with gut issues like money and security are the ones that most often shut the door to public access. All-time favorites include the DPWH and DOTC for billion peso contracts, and the BIR and Customs for billion peso collections, and the AFP and the PNP, always so secretive of the way they keep you safe.
Yung agencies that have something to do with procurement, and then agencies na may kinalaman sa collection ng pera, like BIR, yun medyo mahirap din kuhanan ng dokumento.
The reasons given to reporters range from the amusing to the insulting. Reporters are told the information is too complex for them to understand, or that there is no one to authorize publication. The most popular reason is national security.
Like for example, ang Laguna provincial, madalas yan mag-declare ng persona non grata sa mga reporter tapos binaban nila from covering the meeting of the board.
This week, the Senate finally begins deliberations on the Access to Information Bill, a full year after a similar bill was passed in the lower house. The bill compels all government agencies to act on requests for information within 10 calendar days. The bill also requires agencies to take the initiative in publishing loans, contracts, and other agreements.
Ang kailangan natin yung isang batas na may malinaw na instruction kung hanggang sino yung may accountability sa release and not hindi lang yung simpleng clerk yung sisisihin. And then kailangan may malinaw na timetable, gaano katagal yung release, gaano katagal para, or yung reasons kung may denial man, dapat malinaw na malinaw.
A broad alliance of several dozen civil society and media groups has already formed up to push the bill through the Senate floor. The groups say there wouldn't have been as many corruption scandals if people were allowed to look over the government's shoulder.
May obligasyon ang pamahalaan without need of demand from the public to mandatorily or fully disclose its transactions of public interest kagaya ng mga kontrata.
But there are exceptions. When there is a clear and present danger of war or invasion, when the information will weaken the country's position in negotiations, and when the data will compromise military or police operations. In the end, reporters say it's a small price to pay for a free press that has lived for 2 decades without the freedom of information. For the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, Lingao.